Hello, this is Mahaleyah and welcome to All This Bliss. Today I have a great treat for you. I have with me the sons of Nasi Eliazer, two brothers that I have known for over 30 years, an integral part of the community at one time. They wanted to come today to bring a message to the people worldwide. It is a basic recap on the status of the community, and it is some information that you will be receiving that you probably have never heard before. So without any further ado, we're going to get right into the topic. To my right is Kohen Oman, and to my left is Mahaleyah, and these are the sons of Nasi Eliazer. So we want to start off by saying that these brothers have built a ministry which is called the Ministry of Divine Justice. And what I would like is to just start off with Kohen Oman and ask for him to explain to us what exactly the Ministry of Divine Justice, what is the purpose, and why is it so important right now as a member or ex-member of the community? Why is it so important for us to establish and maintain a Ministry of Divine Justice?
Well, first, giving all praises to the Creator of the heavens and the earth, I'd like to say greetings to everyone in our audience today. And the reason for the Ministry of Justice was to ensure that justice was given and due process in the community, and the great need for this, not just in the community but in the whole earth, because we know that justice was formed from the foundation of the earth and the judgments were set already in, and that we had lived in a community for so long where justice was evaded and issues were skirted that it got to a point that enough was enough, and we had to cry out for justice, because we know that the Creator loves justice, and if there's no justice, there's no peace. So this is why there's so much turmoil in the community and why so many things have taken place through the years, because there's no justice. Therefore, we had to form a ministry of justice, but without a person as a minister, because no one person can contain the great attribute of justice. Justice is universal, and anybody that cries for justice is in this ministry, regardless of whatever color, race, or creed.
Mm-hmm. Now that's very important. So really, just paraphrasing is, you want to represent the people on every level. If there's any injustice that's involved in any situation, you want to call it out. Is that right?
Answer it, first of all, giving all praises to the God of Israel, to all my brothers and sisters near and far on the other side. Greet you in peace. So, absolutely. We have many converts here in the land, refugees that then came up. The black presence here in Israel is astronomical at this particular time.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And we have them from all, they're coming in as refugees and they're coming home, according to how it was written in the last days. And they need representation.
Yes,
There's injustice going on. They're living in all kinds of horrid conditions and different things like that. And someone needs to speak up. They need to be able to speak to somebody that would listen to them so that their position can be. And that's what we stand for.
So now, when you're speaking of the refugees, Mahaleyah is basically speaking of the population now from Eritrea,
Right.
from the Sudan, and as far as I'm concerned, even Ethiopia, because these people here, there's a great injustice being done on certain levels also, even amongst them. But that's we can discuss that later. But there definitely is a huge influx of African Americans and Africans coming into Jerusalem at this time. One thing that I wanted to ask is, As far as the ministry of divine justice is concerned, what you're really saying is there was not enough justice that was built into the infrastructure of the community, the kingdom of God, the African Hebrew Israelite community. There wasn't enough justice that was built into that infrastructure so that the justice and the peace and the righteousness that was proclaimed by Ben-Ami, that it actually took effect.
That's correct. We know that injustice, even in countries that we consider anti-people, anti-freedom, that they do have laws that indicate that you have the right to face your accuser, called due process. In the community here, the African Hebrew Israelite community, this never was instilled, that you had the right of due process to get justice. Everything was based on favoritism, respect of persons, as it is to this day. Cover-ups, lies, false accusations against people, and judgments that were not just. And this is what inspired us to defy these haters of justice and to come out with the prophetic words of Isaiah that God, Yah, loves justice. So if he loves justice, then he hates injustice. And we stand against injustice in all forms. We will represent anybody that has a just claim with evidence, facts, and proof. We do not discriminate against anyone. As you go on and listen to us and know our track record, then you'll understand why, as a community, that there was a great need for a ministry of justice.
Okay, now let's just back up a little bit so that our audience will understand exactly what is taking place here, and in particular in regards to your association with the ministry of divine justice. You were taught by Nasik, which is the word in Hebrew for prince. You were taught by Nasik Eliazer, who was an elder priest.
He was in fact the elder priest at our time when we were taught in the school of the prophets. And I'd also like to say that we were taught by Ben-Ami himself. But we found out later that Ben-Ami did not even adhere to his own teachings.
Okay.
He defied what he taught. I want to make that clear. He defied his own teachings.
Okay. But Nasik Eliazer was the elder priest. He was the oldest of all of the original priests. So the brothers that are sitting here today are sons of the eldest priest in our community. Okay, I remember when I first came into the community over 30 years ago, he was giving the sisters and the young people and everyone in the community basic understanding of the laws of the Bible and how to implement them in everyday life. Things that were not being imparted by the other Nisikim or Ben-Ami himself. And when I refer to Ben-Ami, I'm referring to the spiritual leader of that community in Dimona. So the elder priest, he was the spiritual embodiment of those laws, and he imparted those personally to these brothers that are sitting here today. Now, are you currently, do you consider yourself a part of the community?
Yes, we do. We're still a part of I'm on a sabbatical. In other words, other than trying to fight back with different opinions and different injustices like that, I refrain from doing that so that, you know, I wouldn't give people the wrong idea that I'm actually trying to destroy what we built. I didn't come to destroy it, I came to build it. Okay. And so, no, we're still a part of the community.
I'd like to add to that, we're a part of a community that stands on the principles of justice, truth, and righteousness, but a part of a community that denies justice and due process, we're not a part of that. We oppose that.
Absolutely.
There are many great things that have taken place here. We've made great achievements in this land through the years. I mean, the list is too long to even quote in these few minutes, the great things that happened here. But if we, like the saying goes, if you have a basket full of apples and one bad apple in there, it can spoil the whole bunch. So this is what we're dealing with, the bad apples that have already started the fermentation of the other people. So no, we are a part of the community, our families, our children, our grandchildren, and we love the community. That's why we're taking this position, and we cannot let a few people hijack this and declare that this is their kingdom, that they're God's sole representatives on earth when they are not. This thought of the kingdom was before any of us came into existence, and it will be after we long gone. So we're not going to let a few people define with their unjust ways what this should be. We came to heal the wrongs that have been done to our people first in our house, and then let it go out to the world.
It's very, very well said. Okay, so you came today in the midst of a lot of rumors, a lot of accusations, a lot of things that a flurry of different opinions and activities that are going on surrounding the community. So you had a specific message that you wanted to bring, and that message, it seems to be a part of a current situation that I myself have been very outspoken about, and that is the child molestation. This is one of the great scourges of this community. We have found that there has been, for over practically the whole history of our community, a great deal of child molestation that has been going on every level. And what I mean by that, to be more specific, is there are children that are molesting other children, there are sisters molesting children, there are brothers molesting children. So there's molestation that's going on every level in the community. And when I look at the situation, I look at it as like a microcosm of what's taking place in the world. There's something that's askew, there's something that's it's out of balance. So in order to really get to the root of the problem, we can listen to some of the things that you've come here to say today to help us understand better what happened. We were supposed to be a barometer. We were supposed to be an example here in Jerusalem. So how could this child molestation have taken off, and is it just rumors? Is there anything being done to work this out? Is it being addressed at all? So what's happening?
Well, this is something that has to come out. We go back 30 years ago to 1983, when we first became aware that these infractions of universal laws were taking place, of children being molested by adults. And these are not allegations. These are facts with evidence, with victims, perpetrators, and this exists. But the great disappointment comes when you have those who insinuate and some who blatantly outward say that we are airing out our dirty laundry in public. And what I mean by public, to the masses of our people that are in the lands of the captivity that we refer to. But they have to remember that we came from the masses of the people. These are our people in America, in the Caribbean, in Africa, and in Europe that were scattered to the four corners of the earth. It's our obligation and our duty to cry aloud and spare not, because we are watchmen We have to, it may not be for somebody else to bring this forth, but as watchmen we have been rigidly trained as priests and teachers in this community over decades to cry aloud, spare not. Now, I say this, that I have to go all the way to the root of this, that the fault lies solely on the leadership. The leadership, Benjamin in particular, for not speaking out openly and condemning these acts, his appointed spokesmen and women, and his so-called puppet priest. We are the sons of Eliazer. There's a distinction between our priesthood and the puppet priests that are actively moving in the community. We were taught, and my brother can testify, that you know what the priests are teaching by what is taking place in the midst of the people. We were ostracized for standing up for justice. We were put into the arena of like no voice. They even had they have a thing here where they say, you in the brotherhood and you not in the brotherhood. But show me a brotherhood. Where are the men, the mighty warriors of Israel? Where are the mighty women of Israel, the prophetesses? Where are those who stood up against all type of evil? Why don't they speak out against their children being molested, and those that speak out are ostracized? So you're attacking the truth. But the main ones that are bringing this are those that are pedophiles, have pedophile tendencies, pedophiles in their families, child abusers, child molesters, and they cut it off and say, don't speak to them, don't talk to them. Because if you talk and you communicate, then you can match things. But everything is coming out in the wash now. Everything is coming out. It's revelations every day coming out of who these perpetrators are. And new victims.
Right. Now, Mahaleyah, you have in your receipt a letter that was recently issued by a sister in the community, and I won't release her name here, but that particular letter, just to paraphrase it briefly, it talked about the fact that this sister's son was repeatedly molested by a brother in the community, and there has been, and she has tried her best to work within the community in different organizations in and outside the community to put an end to this child molestation. It affected her child to the point where he was having problems in the military because of the psychological damage that was inflicted upon him as a result of being molested in his childhood repeatedly. So you have that letter.
Yes, I do.
And while we are not releasing the sister's name, it is a heartbreaking letter to let us know that she has now really excused herself from the community, and she's asking for people not to look at her in an ill way because she's done this, but she's worked as hard as she could to try to help stamp out the pedophilia that's taking place right now in the community. And let's hear from you. And
I would like to read just a paraphrase of what the sister said. It reads on this wise. At this point, I've come to the conclusion that values and principles that I hold dear as a righteous woman differ greatly from those demonstrated by the state of the affairs of this community. I recommend that you read the document, Decline of a Nation. For me, to remain an active member of the member, not the kingdom, there's a big difference, would be for me to live a lie. I've tried to make a difference by working within the structure of the kingdom. However, I no longer believe that those changes that are required can be made by my continuing to do so. So in order for me to be true to myself, I have to make a physical distinction and separation between those things that I value and those things that have been shown to me by actions or inactions of those that do not share the same values and vision that I have.
So a mother that's already experiencing great pain, and I'm sure a lot of guilt. Here she is trying to work within the establishment of the community that promised her justice, mercy, righteousness, and all of this, and all of her efforts have been to no avail. No tribunal, as far as I'm aware of, and is that correct?
That's correct.
No tribunal has been formed. No one has been questioned, or nothing has happened.
By
This
the
has just been
people or
something
the
that's been put
victims.
under the rock. Is that
Right,
right?
that's true. We call it the Pedophile Protection Program. This is what we call it. And this could have all been dealt with another way. It didn't have to go out into the public. We had enough knowledge and wisdom to deal with this at the inception when we first found this out. We had enough time to deal with this, but the arrogance, the insecurity, and just the outright you can't tell me anything, and who are you to inquire of me attitude that was sent down from the leader to his leaders to inflict on the people caused all this to take place.
One of the things that the sister said in the letter that was very, very important, she said that two cannot walk together unless they agree. I would never agree to allowing sexual predators to be a part of the kingdom of Yah, nor will I cover it up. The reports of sexual abuse and misconduct go all the way back to our beginnings, to the Shikun, when teens were taking young children down to the small meat lot, which is a basement,
Bomb shelter.
Bomb shelter. And they were taking small children down to the meat lot and having them perform oral sex on them. And adult men were taking our teenage daughters out of cycle while pretending to be their dog or their abba.
Their father or their
uncle. Children from inline cities, children from our other cities, Arad and Miss Ray Ramon, were abused while they were waiting for the school bus at the home where they were staying during the week by adults that were supposed to be tending to them every day. Some of our daughters go both ways now. They didn't turn our children out. Some of our sons are homosexuals. Some of our sons are sexually recovering from both male and female offenders. They are promiscuous. They're alcoholics, addicts, and they suffer from all kinds of mental health issues. Now this is the sister. She's just backing up what the Kohen just said about when you don't deal with certain problems, they don't get better. They get worse. And they continue to keep worse. And it's getting worse even now. And no one is saying anything from the leadership. They tell us don't handle it. We'll handle it. And we look around and it's never dealt with. Or if it is dealt with, it's a pat on the back. You understand? Slap on the wrist. And say, don't do that no more. The next thing we know, they're walking around on security. Securing the same children they just raped.
And that's a good point, because no one can refute that this is not the truth that we are telling. When the scriptures have admonished us to cry aloud, spare not, to lift up our voice like a trumpet and show the house of Israel their sins and the house of Jacob their transgressions. The sins of our forefathers were not hidden, and the sins of our fathers in this day will not be hidden for the future generations to know. These are not rumors, these are facts. My brother hit on a point that you go to somebody in a position of leadership and you get played off. And this is what has happened through the years. They have a serial diabolical, morbid pedophile that is still in the ministry of security. His name is Eliazer, because we're going to call some names too. He's a serial pedophile. And what is he securing? Another pedophile who's committing some type of atrocity on a child? How is he securing? Our security is doing what's right. We have invited from Ben-Ami, his spokesmen, women, security, his so-called scholars, anybody that can come up and refute what we are saying one word is a lie. They cannot do that. They cannot say that we are lying. All they can say is we airing out our dirty laundry. Well, when the house stink, you got filthy laundry, when you got vermin running around the house.
You wash dirty laundry. You don't throw it away. You wash it. And that's what we're doing now. We're cleaning up this mess that's been created. We're finding out that some of the leaders are pedophiles.
It's very suspect.
It's coming out right now. It's confirmations being made right now that some of the leaders. Nasir Rakamim is one of them. I'm going to call some names too because the names need to be called.
But why is there a wall of silence? Why isn't Ben-Ami, who has deemed himself the Messiah to all men in the world today, he is the Mashiach, the Messiah, why has he not spoken out against this? Why hasn't he taken a stand? That's the question that is resonating in everybody's mind today. Where is he? Why it becomes suspect at a certain point in time. We hear, we have all these classes, and in these classes they talk about, can a man rob God? And they talk about the tithes, and they talk about obedience and loyalty and all of the same types of teachings that were passed down to us from slavery, obedience, and it's better to be a good servant than to, what was it?
Be a doorkeeper and yeah, and to be they used to have some slogans. It all dealt with you serving and you not being a part of anything other than just serving and being subservient to the dictates of the leadership, which in fact Ben-Ami makes every decision. The reason I feel that it hasn't been spoken of by Ben-Ami, and I know that he's thought many times he should have addressed this, and he never felt that this would get this far out of hand in the protest and the ferocity and the disappointment of the people that they would come against him and his leaders. But I have to say this, that Satan cannot cast out Satan. And this is the reason why. And until I see otherwise, then that's my position. Because you had years to deal with these perverts that have destabilized our children, that have raped our children, that have psychologically destroyed our children, and you let these monsters walk around in the midst, not only walk around, but own businesses, feel comfortable, like ain't nothing gonna happen to them. But this is Judgment Day. Regardless of whatever go down, we're gonna say what we gotta say. You can't put the perverts, you can't put out the pedophiles, you can't put out the homosexuals, you can't put out none of them people. So don't come thinking that you can put somebody out there standing in the stead of the universal laws of the God of Israel. Because I fervently believe that one can put 1,000 to flight.
Now, I would like to add to what the Kohen is saying, because
okay, but hold your thought, because we're coming up on half an hour, and then when we come back, we're gonna start off where we left off here with my brother Mahaleyah, and